Yo, what is good? Everyday Superpower signing in. Gonna talk a little bit of game for you here today. How you can enhance your life and become the person you actually want to be and believe you should be. And that person that is inside of you that just doesn't seem to want to come out, whether it be through fear, whether it be through anxiety, or it only just tends to come out during certain situations, if you know where I'm coming from. I mean, I've been there before when I was younger, and I thought, how come sometimes I can just get on a winning streak and be really good with the women, but other times, it just doesn't work? What is it, and what energy is it that I'm provoking and expressing? How do I manifest that? But what we're going to talk about today will apply wherever you want, whether it be you want to be confident around the board if you're into your business and you're socialing, whether it be, you just want to be a cool character and you want to be able to reinforce that and really allow that shine, or literally anything, okay? I'm going to talk about anchoring today. Now, before I get into it, what I want you to do is check the links out in the video description. One of them will take you to my playlist of the full dictionary of body language. Of course, it's a free playlist, it's on YouTube, so feel free to check that out because you'll be able to learn from A to B how to read somebody through their subconscious behaviors. And second to that, we've got Patreon, which will take you through to some first-person views, observations, and talking on real life dates as to where I'll break it down, show you what's going on before your own eyes, so you'll be able to see that manifest itself. I got onto that purely as YouTube wouldn't allow me to reuse content in a copyright sense, so it got blocked off YouTube. So anyway, let's get into it. We're talking about anchoring. Well, what's anchoring? Well, to overcomplicate it even more, it's a term and a fundamental tool that's utilised in NLP. Well, what's NLP? It's neuro-linguistic programming. Well, what's that? Don't worry about what that is, alright? What we're going to do is just talk about what it means. So, think about particular songs that take you back to a time in your life, or maybe engage with a particular emotional side of you that manifests through the hearing of this stimuli, through the hearing of this song. I know I've got a couple, in particular, regressive songs, songs that take me back to my teenage years when I was full of emotion and developing and really finding comfort in music, alright? Some might find that same feeling through films, Disney films and so on and so forth, that allow you to regress back into that childhood state and fill you with feeling that other pieces of media may not, Other pieces of media still have that same power to be able to do so, but I feel as we get older, we put our shields up, we get a little more defensive, we aren't as open and as pure as we are when we are younger, we're not as receptive, and obviously we don't have the test of time at this current moment in time to see as to whether it really will make an impact on us, alright? I know somebody who's, unfortunately had a family member pass away, and they associate a particular song which speaks on what could have been their situation lyrically, and they can't listen to that song. It's too powerful and it takes them to a time and it sets their mind in a particular place. So we're speaking on anchoring, and that anchoring is anchoring an emotional feeling to a particular stimuli. Alright, so one of the most popular references in regards to this is Pavlov's dogs, alright? So this is, I didn't study psychology, but I know this is used as a basic foundational insight into what conditioning is, psychological conditioning, which your governments are using on you, your social medias are using on you right about now. So you might as well check that out so you have a thorough understanding in what conditioning is. But what Pavlov would do is learn to associate the ringing of a bell to the salivation in the mouths of his dogs, because that dog associated the ringing with the bell with food being present, alright? Such as if you have a dog now, or if you have cats or so forth, they will associate the pitter-patter and the footsteps of you in the kitchen, or you rustling a particular bag, with a particular feeling, and that is of hunger, alright, of excitement. Now, taking that into consideration, why can't you apply that theory to your day-to-day to manufacture, in a sense, a feeling of confidence, or manufacture a feeling of self-worth, or manufacture, a larger-than-life rock star emphasis to your psyche in reference to a particular stimuli? But what if it never happens? I can't just sit watching films all day. I can't listen to music all day. No, because you will be able to anchor and attach it to a squeeze of your wrist, the squeeze of your fingertip. And we're going to talk about how you're going to be able to utilize that and do that and set that into effect, okay? Because what we're speaking of initially, a lot of these, heavy reactions and emotional connections might come through a degree of trauma to some extent. A lot of us, nobody grows up clean and learns to, connect that either anxiety inducing or anxiety releasing stimuli with something larger and above everything else. You don't need to traumatize yourself to do that. All you need is your mind, because your mind's not going to know the difference in regards to your own visualization and what is reality there before you, alright? So before I digress, we're going to just get straight into it, alright? Right, so whether this happened in real life, which if you're able to connect the dots quick enough and establish this, what I'm going to ask you to do in real life, that really would be optimal, but we tend to not always be locked on consciously to what we should be doing at the moment in time because we're too busy enjoying life, right? So what I want you to do, at least to start off, is every morning, or at least when you have a little moment throughout the day, okay? I want you to find time and space to be by yourself, no distractions, and I want you to visualize yourself being the person you want to be, or in a particular circumstance which allows characteristics, emotions, and so forth to flourish through your body. So let's say, generally speaking, we talk a lot about attraction on this channel, right? So if you think, wow, last night when I had a few drinks, I was really popular with the women, and it just seems like that's fleeted. It's not there no more. I want to be that person all the time. So if you have a sit down and you think about you engaging with them women and making them smile and the way that made you feel, and you know you are that person because you can be that person, and you're thinking about and visualizing it, the smell of the beer in your surroundings, the smell of her fragrance, how good you were looking on that day, you're looking confident, you're looking blessed, you're doing a fantastic job, and your communication is incredibly successful. When you're in the deep depths of them thoughts, take your hand and squeeze the little finger of your other finger. Of your other hand, should I say. Take your hand and squeeze your little finger on the opposite hand, okay? Now that doesn't have to be what you do. You can also squeeze your wrist, you could tap yourself on a particular part of your body, and so on and so forth. And now what you're going to start to do over the days is continue to do this. So when you wake up, before you get out of bed, just take a moment to think about that situation. Take a moment to even project and manifest a new situation, so you are now creating the person you want to be. And as long as you visualize hard enough, and as long as it makes sense to you, and as long as it feels like you are there and you are deep in the depths of the dream of who you want to be, to such an extent that your brain is visualizing it as reality, squeeze that finger again and again and again and again and again and again, okay? Keep doing it, and when you experience the highlight of what you want to manifest in your day-to-day activity with the click of a finger, I mean, that could even be it, clicking your finger, you could find and apply your own application of this, right? So the stimulus is going to be an environmental cue, but your response is going to be a specific behavioral action. It's going to be how you touch yourself, all right, in some way or another. It's a reflexive association, and not a matter of choice, all right? It will start to become part of you. All right, some examples could be a remembered picture can become an anchor for a particular internal feeling. So if there's a particular, family image you have in your mind, perhaps it's a screenshot you've taken inside of your mind of a particular smile you've put on someone's face and the way that made you feel and so forth. Maybe it was the last time you saw somebody and you'd love to see them again, and it's how you feel and the emotional connection you have in regards to that. That will manifest itself through you at that particular moment in time, okay? So if I am creating this incredible, dominant, powerful business persona in my head, and I'm visualizing the fact that I'm going to absolutely become the most, successful, richest, incredible businessman of all time, and I keep anchoring that to a particular behavior, who's going to know when I just nip myself on the leg underneath the table at a business meeting ever so, gently, and engage that feeling because I associate one to the other. At the very least, if it doesn't, completely shapeshift me, at least I'm going to be aware that I've put two and two together. It's going to open neural pathways which are in association to being a dominant business person, because that's what I believe this action should be doing, right? A voice tone may become an anchor for a state of excitement or confidence, okay? So when we speak on women liking deeper voices and so on and so forth, that might be an internalized trigger within that person before you that has learned to be turned on by them voices, whether that be through, past sexual endeavours or through, the whole fatherhood situation, which we've not really gone on to in this channel with much depth. I do like Freudian psychology, so we will do at some point, but I feel it's a bit too heavy to just jump in, to be fair, a bit too controversial, really. So a person may consciously choose to establish and re-trigger these associations for themselves. Rather than being a mindless knee-jerk reflex, an anchor becomes a tool for self-empowerment. Anchoring can be a very useful tool for helping to establish and reactivate the mental processes associated with creativity, learning, concentration, and other important resources, alright? So you can also anchor a room if you have an office as opposed to the living room which you work in. You can anchor through experience and just through, projecting a worth upon the office that it's the best place for you to learn, it's the best place for you to be productive. And so unconsciously you might do less work and be less effective in the living room, although they're still just two rooms, but you've anchored that worth upon that particular action, you getting up and entering that room. All right, you can do it with the physical touch of oneself in reflection to the manufactured feeling you've created over days and days and weeks and months and years of, re-emphasizing and continuing to utilize this psychological superpower, I've done this in the past, and what I'll tell you is you will find if you stop doing this, if you stop reinforcing it over time, you will lose it. So it has to be of a consistent basis if you really want to utilize it to its fullest capability. All right, when I speak on the squeezing of the little finger, that's because what I used to do. That is what I used to do. All right, so imagine what it could be like if you in a moment could go from feeling anxious to feeling decisive and capable in the middle of like a job interview when all eyes are on you, or if you're on a dance floor, or if you're here, there, or anywhere. If you're dealing with an individual you want to get along with a lot better, such as the beautiful woman who's there before you, through whichever reason, you can influence your mind to become better in those situations to a degree where you can completely take control of them emotions. How wild is that, considering emotionally speaking we tend to not, we tend to just accept them as they are. In a stoic sense, we do get emotional from times one way or another, we just have to take it as a part of life, but you can do your bit to fight back and to empower yourself and overpower those responses you get, in the face of fear and anxiety and so on and so forth. That's some game for you. Give it a go. Let me know what you think. Peace.